Hello, welcome to another Jazz After Dark. How you doing out there? This one, this is either going to go really well or really bad, so grab a drink and watch this either self-implode or you'll learn something, right? We are going to take a look through the latest spending bill. And I heard about something that may be in it. I'll go over it in a second, but I'm going to try to find it, explain it, and tell you the rules of all the changes of this if I can find it. And if I can't, then, well, we're just going to look at a bunch of words. So tonight I have the Lock & Co. It's a rye whiskey out of Aspen. And I've never had it before. I do like the Breckenridge bourbon, and I do like their rye, I believe, from a couple years ago. So looking forward to it. If you've never had anything out of Colorado, they really try to go for that like fresh, clear, almost like the scent of snow, right? Like taste the Rockies sort of thing. And Breckenridge does a great job of it. Oh, that's amazing. Okay. Yeah, that's like, I don't know if it's marketing and I'm just being stupid here, but I feel it. I feel the Rockies, man. So let's see what we got. Well, I'll tell you what, that's I know that I would make an old fashioned with that. That is really good. I don't know if that's a sipping rye right there, but man, it's just clear, clean. I don't know how to word that there, but I don't know what it costs or anything, but that is exceptional. This is from last month. From our Flaviar thing. We're not like, again, sponsored by them or anything, but that is good. I think I'd be more excited in an old fashioned with that. But that's a solid like 84, man. That's really good. What are you drinking tonight? Let me know what's going on out there. You ready to see this happen? I have no idea how this is going to go. We're not going to stop and start. We're not going to edit this. We're just going to see how this goes. And in true government fashion, the bill that came out just really came out. And they do this all the time. I know the politicians get mad about it, but I'm going to actually go through, show you how I find what I'm looking for. And when I present things to clients to let them know what's changed or what opportunities there are, we'll go right to the source. So we're going to check it out. Really, really good. Lock & Co. Aspen Aged Rye Whiskey. Very good. All right. Let's just do this here. This is not prepared. Here's the bill. It's 4,155 pages long. That's really nothing shocking. That's kind of how these things go. I've heard about a lot of stuff that's in here. What I'm looking for in particular has to do with 529's because this would be something brand new. I think it'd be really cool. And so first thing I'm going to do is hit Control F and let's try 529. And we got 15 of those. Section section 529. That's we're gonna need something better here. This is not a good enough search. We're seeing $582,529,000. All right, I don't know what that is. Yeah, okay, let's try something else. Modification of age requirement of quality. So let's try Roth. Oh, what do you know? Only 2. Oh, this is number 2 of 36. Well, let's go to 1. Let's see what we're working with here. Roth contribution. Okay, we're getting there. Let's go back to the main thing. So if you've never looked through these before, there should be a bold section where it starts off. I just saw qualified retirement, so we're in the right ballpark here. Let's see. This maybe won't take very long. Savers match. So this has to do with the savers match. $2,000. I don't know if there's any change there. We can come back to that. How do we do? Let's go here. Roth IRA. Let's see what this one is real quick. Told you this is going to be an interesting one. Let's see if it goes well or it doesn't. We're back to the savers match. All right. Let's see what we got. Special rules for certain distributions, long-term qualify. Okay, here we go. Qualified tuition programs. That's 529. There's the Roth highlighted to Roth IRAs. So this says special rules for certain distributions from long-term qualified tuition programs to Roth IRA. I'm going to believe that this is where I need to be. We're pages 2161. And let's see what it says here. Section 529, that's good. Okay, so in general, paragraph 3 of section 529C is amended. This is common. So what you're seeing is the new proposal, whatever this is about to say, which I hope it's what I think it's going to say, is amending the tax code 529C by doing something to it and by adding something. Okay, special rollover to Roth IRAs from long-term qualified tuition programs. Perfect. Okay, that's what I want. So this is a brand new. So they're adding at the end of the paragraph in this tax code, they're adding this, a special rollover to Roth IRAs from long-term qualified tuition program. So that just means we're going to figure something out here, but it looks like you're able to do a rollover, a special rollover, so we'll have to see what that means, to a Roth IRA from a 529. And I believe it was actually a congresswoman out of Denver that proposed this somewhere back in September. I want to say it was out of Colorado. And so I kept hearing about this, and it looks like we've got something to work with. So let's try to define it. This is the part that could go horribly wrong because we're going to use government words here. All right, first section. In general, gotta love that, in the case of a distribution from a qualified tuition program, 529, of a designated beneficiary which has been maintained for 15-year period ending on the date of such distribution, right, shall not apply to so much the portion of such distribution which. All right. All right. We're going to get through this. I can figure this out. This is what I do, guys, right? We just need another drink. The first thing I'm realizing here is this is not for any rollover. In the case of a distribution, so if you're going to take money out of a 529 with a certain beneficiary, your child, that has been maintained for 15 years, ending on the date of the original withdrawal that you make. So in other words, it's got to be around for 15 years. That's not very good. Shall not apply to any portion of this distribution. So what they're saying is the distribution that you take out, as long as it's been 15 years since the date of the, or from the date of the distribution, looking backwards, we shall not apply this distribution, much of the portion of such distribution. Oh, shall not apply to so much of the portion of the, Jesus. Okay, what they're saying is when you take out this money, it shall not break the following rules, whatever we're going to go through here. It shall not break the rule that it exceeds the aggregate amount contributed to the program, the 529, and earnings attributable, because we invest it, before the 5-year period ending on the date of the distribution. So there's a 5-year rule inside of it, which is weird. So it has to be established for 15 years, and there's a 5-year rule, kind of similar to a Roth, it sounds like. The date of distribution, and, all right, is paid in a direct trustee-to-trustee transfer to a Roth IRA. All right, so this is good. So for the benefit of such beneficiary. Let's stop there for a second. Here's what this all means. Does not exceed the aggregate amount contributed to the program and the growth. All right, I'm just trying to think how I can break it down for you. So it cannot be more than the amount contributed to the program and the growth. In other words, you can't have a 529. You can't try to say it was worth more. So that's fair for the moment. The 5-year window there, that's okay. And it has to be rolled over directly. This is common language here. So a direct trustee-to-trustee transfer to the Roth IRA that would be in the child's name or for the benefit of the child. So I'm assuming they're saying it could be held in trust. I don't know why you would do that. There's probably more to it that I'm missing. So far, the new rule says, yes, you can take money and roll it over. I'm assuming money that you are not using. It hasn't said that yet, though. Money from a 529, roll it over into your kid's Roth IRA, provided you meet those requirements there. And as long as you take it from the 529 and put it in the Roth, we have no problems. So let's see if there's fine print. Okay, well, here we go. Annual limitation clause, I, which is this, shall only apply to so much of any distribution as does not exceed the amount applicable to the designated beneficiary under section 408A. 408A is the Roth code. I don't know what C and 2 are, but it probably is the Roth code, and then probably the amount and how the amount changes, or the max contribution and how it changes. We could look that up, but I know 408 is the Roth. Applicable to the beneficiary under that code for the taxable year reduced by the amount of aggregate contributions made during the taxable year to all individual retirement plans made or maintained for the benefit of the beneficiary. Okay, one more time. Beneficiary. So it cannot exceed the amount applicable. So it can exceed the max. So this year, for example, the max on a Roth IRA is $6,000. Let's move to next year because this won't be in place until next year. So cannot exceed the maximum contribution, the rollover, cannot exceed the maximum contribution to the Roth IRA for that taxable year, which will be next year, and shall be reduced by the amount of the aggregate contributions made during the taxable year to all individual retirement plans. All right, why do we have to say it like that? So what they're saying there is you can roll over from a 529 into a Roth, but it'll count as a contribution. It won't be a direct rollover, and it cannot be more than the maximum amount allowed to go into a Roth. So that tells me right away there's going to be more. That's not the end of this. The aggregate, and you have to count the contributions. So that's what this is saying here. You do the rollover. It can't be more than the max. We'll figure out what that is. And then it has to include contributions so far made during the year to all of the individual's retirement plans. So in other words, if the person that has this Roth IRA, the kid, has made a $1,000 deposit to a Roth IRA, well, the limit is $6,500, right? Yeah, for next year. So that means that the rollover amount in one given year cannot be more than $5,500, which would take you to $6,500 for the year. Just a horrible way to word all of that, but that's probably last minute wording that they do. Okay, section 2, aggregate limitation. This subparagraph shall not apply to any distribution described in the first clause, all right, to the extent that the aggregate amount of such distributions with respect to the designated beneficiary for the taxable year and all prior taxable years exceeds $35,000. You see, like, advisors, they're not worth it. You see what I got to read? Give me a break. Okay, so that's the catch. That's the gotcha that I was getting at. So since there is let's just do this again. Let me make sure. Not apply to any distribution of clause to the extent that the aggregate amount of such distributions with respect to the designated benefit, blah, 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 such taxable year and the prior taxable years exceeds 30. So that's the max. You could put $35,000 in. What was the point of that? So each year you can roll over from a 529 and you can go up to the max. But as you go and do this, you have to calculate each year. You cannot roll over more than $35,000. So the limit on this is 30. Now, why would it be more than that anyways? So basically what's going to happen in real life is you have a 529, your kid went to college, maybe the school paid for some of it, and so you have this surplus in your 529 and you have nothing else to do with it. You could say, congratulations for going to college. Doesn't say anything about graduating yet, so okay. You have $35,000 left in your 529. Holy cow, we don't have anything to do with it. Well, each year we can contribute a rollover up to the max in the Roth IRA, so long as we don't go over $35,000 over the course of however many years that would take. Sheesh. All right, moving on to a new section here. Yeah. Treatment under Roth IRA rules. In general, paragraph 1 of section... so this is just telling you how they're changing the code. This is common at the end of all these new rules, by the way. So they're saying, if you go to section 408E or C or whatever that is, we are going to amend the tax code by taking out a period at the end of the subparagraph and putting in a comma and. And then we're going to insert the following words here. Qualified tuition programs, by adding the end, the earnings and contributions of the qualified tuition program for which qualified reserves are made on a subparagraph shall be treated in the same manner as earnings and contributions of a Roth IRA for which qualified rollover contribution is made. So yeah, they're just saying we realize that you can invest your 529, and so all earnings and contributions will be counted. That's how the tax code is going to read. And then there's another section. We are amending the tax code, the Roth tax code, by getting rid of a qualified rollover contribution and inserting the following, commas and ands and exception for they're adding this basically. It's everything we just talked about. Exception, this is how the tax code is going to look. Exception for rollovers from qualified tuition plans clause I shall not apply to any individual described subparagraph E1C. Shall be increased by the lesser amount of the contributions. This is telling you about the amount that it's going to go up to. You can't do yeah, so this is just all how the tax code's going to change. So the moral of the story is this didn't go as bad as I thought it was going to go. Okay. So this section, we're done with it, right? You can roll over from essentially an old 529 into a Roth. You can do this over a period of years, whatever dollar amount's left over. You can't, because of that 15-year thing we mentioned. Everybody watching this right now is thinking like, how do I get away with this? Okay. You have to have had the 529 maintained for a 15-year period. And I believe that was the word they used. You got to be careful on these words. 5-year, keep going. There it is right there. Okay, so in the case of a distribution from a qualified tuition program of a designated beneficiary which has been maintained for the 15-year period, doesn't mean that you had money in it. Let's go to the amendments of the tax laws here. If you're still with me, stick around. Rollover distributions, employee. Okay, so this is amending the whole rollover distributions. Emergency. Okay, so we're on to a different section. So the amount of contributions described. So as they described it, so let's go back up here. Let's talk about this real quick. Limitation and maintained. So you have to maintain it for the 15-year period. It does not say that there had to be a balance. It had to be active. It had to be invested. There's your little loophole-y kind of thing. If you had a 529, you started it because you just had a baby and you were all excited and emotional and you gave it a name and you're like, this is awesome. And then you said, I'm gonna call Dustin. I need to get my 529 started, but you never really got around to doing anything with it. I mean, there's no definition of the word maintained. So it could be that there's a inactive year in the 529, as long as it's been established for 15 years. We're not going to like try to guess the tax code here. So in other words, that part that I was kind of looking forward to, it's not the greatest law from what I've just read, but it gives you the option to do a rollover. That part's awesome because so many people constantly, clients are like, my kid went to school. I'm done. I got nothing to do with this money. I'm not going to have any other kids. I'm not going back to school. What do I do with the money? That's been kind of a ripoff lately, right? You got to get the money out and there's all this money you got to pay. So you'll now be able to roll it over to a Roth for your child. How awesome is that? I mean, just on the surface, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so the moral of the story, let's go back. So how'd I find it? So I had something I wanted to look for. Now, let's try something else while we're here. Maybe I'll make another video out of this. I like the idea of these RMDs. So I know the RMDs are changing. We've got one. I'm going to have to change let's go to the other one. It's looking for any, yeah. It's looking for any R. Let's go minimum distribute. Oops. If you're still around, this part's just for fun. Remove required, so that's for annuities. I don't really care about that. This is for reduction to excise tax and certain accumulations of qualified retirement accounts. Oh, hey, look at that. Again, totally ad lib here. Reduction in the excise tax on certain accumulations in qualified retirement plans. You know what this is? Look at that. Tax reduction, minimum distribution. Okay, so this is not where I was planning on going, but here's a little extra bonus for you. So, they're just going to change the sentence. Look at that. Oh, wait. First sentence substitution apply by substituting. Oh, okay. See what they're doing here. So we'll make another video or something out of this. So this is right now, if you don't know, if you don't take your RMD when you get older, there's a 50% penalty. They're amending it by striking 50% and giving you a break. They're going to go 25%. Okay, so that's something too. By the way, not one single client of mine has ever paid that 50% penalty. That the IRS is so lenient on that. But in general, if you don't take your RMD and you're supposed to take out $10,000, you pay a 50% penalty now. They're basically just saying, come on, give people a break. You know what I mean? So I'm going to keep digging through this because there's a lot of things I wanted to look at. The RMD age, that's one I've been telling clients about because I know that has to have changed. But in general, not too bad, right? For ad-libbing it here. That's how you look through a bill. Look for what you want. Takes a little bit of effort, and now you know kind of how they categorize it and which section, where do you want to start, and how do you know when you're done reading, because you don't really care what the tax code changes to so much. And yeah, I hope that was helpful. So we could do more of these if you like them. And I'm going to keep reading. That's what I do. I like to read through the whole thing. There's so many cool little things in these where you're like, what? They're spending money and nobody's going to say anything? I guarantee you, there's all kinds of fun stuff. In general, you now know how that works. Hopefully that helps you, and I appreciate you watching. We'll be back another day. Adios.